Hello guys, David here and welcome back to another video. In this one we're looking at another installment of my, I suppose you call it FM20 how-to videos. This is something that's come up a lot in the circles of people that I interact with in terms of specifically in the community, both FM and all the other stuff that I do as well. And the big thing is about what's the best thing about a video? What do you look for? What do you improve first to make the quality of your videos better? Now, the big ones, obviously, you've got things like lighting, webcams, graphics, editing, that sort of stuff. But the one that always comes out on top is audio. Now, I know for a fact, and I can speak from experience on this one, which is why I'm doing this video, as to how much improvement you can have just by having a better audio setup. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to do it. I've managed to figure out a really quick and easy way of doing it just by playing around with the settings that I have on OBS. Now I'm going to bring OBS up on the screen in a minute so you can see that, but what I wanted to do first is show you two clips. One, which is going to start just after I finish speaking now, which is my old audio. Hello guys, David here, and welcome back to another video. And then another one, which is going to be starting after I speak this time, with my new audio. Hello guys, David here, and welcome back to another video. Now hopefully you can see from those two the difference between the two. One was when I had my initial setup done, one was after I changed them and made the changes I'm going to show to you guys today. As you can hopefully hear, because I certainly do anyway, the amount of difference in quality is ridiculous. And I'm going to show you the 2 or 3 steps I did to get to that. So without further ado, I'm going to get OBS open, I'll take you over to my other screen and we'll have a look and I'll show you what we can do. Alright then guys, so let me, in fact, before we do anything further, let's put me on the screen, shall we? There we go. Lovely old me on the screen as well. So I am on a scene which I've set up for other videos that I do. You can see it's a streaming one. I've got all sorts of different ones set up for these types of things. But I've done this one so that you can see effectively my whole window, so you can see my taskbar, you see everything. You effectively see the screen I'm working on. Now, first thing I want to bring you guys to the awareness of is your mixer on the right-hand side. In fact, before we do that, first thing I probably should bring you towards actually is the audio input capture scene I've got on my source I've got on my OBS scene at the moment. I've got this on every single one, and the good thing is once you put it in once, then the changes I'm going to show you are going to go across every single time you do this as well. So if you put on any filters, mixer change, anything like that, it will copy across, so you only have to do it once, which is great. But to add this in, you want to go to your little plus button on the scene on the sources list here. It's going to open up your box, which hopefully you can see now. You're going to go to audio input capture, and depending on what you guys use, whether it's built-in microphone in your laptop computer, if you've got a USB mic or any other USB devices, or any aux or line-in devices like the headset I'm using is, I've just got it into my aux port on my laptop in the corner. You're going to click on that, add the source in, and then that's pretty much it. It's that simple. It will do the rest for you because your laptop is going to be, or your computer, whatever it is, will be clever enough to pick up on the type of device you're using and immediately should install it as a default, provided it's plugged in at the time. So if you're like me and I've got a microphone on my laptop which is awful, but I've got this headset, as soon as I plug my headset in, it automatically defaults to this. Happy days. If you do need to change it, you just want to right click on the input capture, and then you can see there I've actually changed it just to make 100% sure, which is just a different one that I have. But as you can see there, just change that. Don't worry too much about the timestamps thing. It's originally defaulted to no. I don't even know why I've got it set to yes, to be honest, because I don't think it does anything. If it does do anything, it doesn't impact the way I set up my audio anyway. But I daren't turn it off just in case. Cool. So that will then add the audio input capture mixer onto your mixer in OBS. Obviously, this is using Streamlabs OBS. It's, as far as I know, they're up to date version. It's the more updated one, I guess. If you're using the old version of OBS, this should still be exactly the same. You're still going to get a mixer. It just might look different aesthetically speaking. Now, the biggest thing I found initially, and this caused me a whole world of pain, and this is where the old audio came from on my videos, is I actually had audio input capture set to the highest it could possibly be. And I had this mic/aux one, which I believe is automatically detected when you plug in a microphone. That straight away, this was set to full, and as for some silly reason, I just put this to 0. And you can see now, you're going to hear me, and I'm going to carry on speaking as I make it a bit quieter. You should. So it's quite easy for you guys to hopefully see the difference in there. You might have heard me cut in and out a little bit. That's because of some of the other stuff I'm going to show you as well. So immediately when I found out this problem, I took audio input capture, put it to 0. I'll put it to effectively nothing. That's what that means. Effectively muted it, in fact. Again, mute it again just to make sure. And then I turned my mic aux one up to as high as it would go, because that was when I realized that that actually made a big, big difference. That was when it made it a lot more suppressed, I suppose is probably the best way of putting it, rather than it sounding like I was in a fishbowl. That's, to be honest, what I kind of thought it was being. And I have had comments on videos that I've since removed saying it's terrible. I realised my mistakes and I probably could put them back on, but you know what I mean, it's one of them. So this is the big first thing, and like I said, this should, in theory, pick it up automatically. All you want to do is just turn that up if you haven't done already. That will go a big way towards fixing that. Now, this is where it can get a bit more interesting, and in my eyes, this is where you can really start to improve it a lot more. And you can actually start to use items that are actually built into OBS to assist with the performance and the quality of your audio. And these are just filters that they have available. Now, to get these, what you want to do is you want to go back to your source, you want to right click on it, and then on there you'll get filters. You actually get these on pretty much every single type of source you can have. So you can do things like I've done on my webcam. I've actually put it so that I've got what's called a LUT on there, which is just a filter. It's like Instagram. It's like that sort of thing. So if you do want to use anything like that and you want to change the color a little bit, if you're a pale boy like me and you burn when you open the fridge, then you can put LUTs on to effectively offset that slightly. I can do a video on that one, or if you want, just ask me about it on Twitter or anything like that. Follow me on there. Make a conversation. We can have a chat about it. But yeah, what I want to do is I'm going to go here where it says filters. Click on that. Now that's going to bring up this screen. Now I'm going to make it, actually I'm not going to make it bigger and make a difference. It should be easy enough for you guys to see. Now at the moment I have got 5 filters switched on the microphone. Now these are the fairly standard ones. The only one I probably wouldn't suggest to worry too much about is this plug-in one. I will explain all of them as I go through. But when you guys go onto this, if you've not added any filters in, this is going to be blank. You're not going to see anything within here. To add a filter, you want to click this plus button, and it's going to give you the option to select a filter type, and then you'll give it a name. To be honest, the names I wouldn't worry about. It's just going to be the name of the type, and they're all fairly self-explanatory anyway, at least once you have them explained. So filter type, as you can see, you've got 8 options. You've got gain, noise suppression, polarity, noise gate, compressor, limiter, expander, and then a VS2 2X plugin. Now, the first one I'm going to show you guys, I'm actually going to go back to my list of filters now, because the ones that I don't use, invert, polarity, limiter, and expander, I don't really think offer too much, unless you want to get a really, really proper studio vibe going. But to be honest, hopefully from what you guys can hear from mine, I've got a very, very basic headset that I bought from any old supermarket. It's just a Turtle Beach headset, and the audio to me I think sounds pretty clear, and I'm quite happy with it. If you want to know what these ones do as well, have a look online and things like that, because I'm sure there'll be things that will give, or there'll be little bits that will give you extra little hints and things like that. Like I said, this is mainly around the ones that I use, which I feel do the most. Now the first one I want to show you guys is noise suppression. So what this is going to allow us to do is effectively block out or hush any background noise. When you add it in, it's going to immediately put it at -30. Now the higher you have it, so as you see, if I move it to the left, it's going to make it higher. If I move it to the right, it's going to make it lower. This won't hush out every single sound. It won't hush out, for example, I'm very near a main road where I live. There can be cars that drive down there very quickly. I can't stop that, unfortunately, because that's just not possible. I'd have to have the world's best microphone, and I'd probably have to have some form of sound, whatever they're called, you know, the things I mean, the noise suppression, like wallpaper stuff. I'd have to have that on the windows in front of me, and I quite like my view. I don't want to do that. It's not worth the hassle. So it's not going to remove everything. Same if you have a very loud child and they're screaming right behind you. It's not going to remove all of that, but it will remove things like computer noises, fans, for example, all of that sort of stuff, and it should do a really good job of shrouding that noise. What I would suggest you do, and you can do this while recording, as you can see, you just have to ensure that you're not in performance mode in OBS, because that does remove these mixer icons. I do that when recording for just for other reasons. Doesn't really make a difference whether you do it or not. But when you're testing it like this, then as you can see, I can still see whether it's coming through or not. And ideally what you want is you want to try and get it into the yellow. That's kind of like the primary point. The red, as you can see, mine just about hits every now and again, but not enough for it to be a major issue, is when it's probably a bit too loud and it's going to start bursting eardrums if you're not careful and if it's in there for a really prolonged period of time. And green is good, but obviously if you want it to be green, you want it to be around about here, where it's a little bit higher up. But yeah, suppression, which isn't a massive issue for me, to be honest, because I'm in a quiet room, no one's around, it's just me, and it's not very warm when I'm recording today, so the fan's not on. Can be obviously tweaked to your benefit. But what I would do is, with all of these, is hit record like I've done and just mess around with them a little bit. You're more than welcome to use my settings. That's why I'm leaving them on the screen for a while so you can see them. Have a play around with them, use them as a benchmark, do whatever you want, and then just kind of work it out from there. Because I'm sure, based on the microphones you guys are using, you will have slightly different requirements. I've no doubt about that. But yeah, suppression, that is going to be there to effectively, like I say, shroud out any sort of background noise that you might have. The higher the minus number, the more suppressed it's going to be. So just something to bear in mind. The next one I have, which I'm going to go to, I'm not going to do these in order because, again, they kind of come through in a different way and I don't really want to do them in order, is the gain. Now, if your microphone is like mine, then when you have a gain switched off and you have this on full on the mixer itself, your microphone can be quite quiet. Mine's a real big problem with that. So what the gain is effectively there to do is just to make your microphone louder, so you can hear people better. Because if I have it on nothing at the moment, you can hear me, but it sounds like I'm really far away and it's not perfect for recording, as you can imagine. Otherwise, I have to be sat here shouting in order for you guys to hear what I'm saying. So what the gain does is adds a little bit of extra oomph to your voice. Again, I've got mine set just above, kind of probably just under the average addition. Obviously, if you start at 0, it's going to put it back to nothing. So I should be a bit quieter now. Obviously, if I put it up to full, then you can see I'm more regularly hitting the higher values in terms of that. And again, I've never put it higher than 10 or 15. It's probably made me really loud as well. Again, apologies that my audio is going to be changing a lot in this video. I'm just trying to show you guys the difference in what they do. Again, with the gain, you can use it really nicely and then use it in line with this mixer to understand what volume you speak at normally. This is my very normal speaking voice. I'm probably a little bit louder than normal because I've got headphones on and I can't really hear myself very well. But what you can do is, like you say, get it to a point where you've got enough gain on that it's tolerable, but don't put too much on because it can then make you liable to sounding quite kind of aggressive on your microphone. It's not always the best thing to have. So yeah, play around with it, see what fits you guys best. The next one I want to show you is the compressor. Now, as you can see, this one's there's quite a lot of changes you can make. The one thing I would say is don't worry about these three in the middle. It's mainly, to be honest, I don't even worry too much about the ratio either. It's mainly the threshold and this ducking source that you want to be worrying about. Effectively, the compressor is there to almost level out your voice when you get quite loud. If you're like me and you get very much into the recordings that you do, you'll notice in a lot of my videos I can get very, very excitable and very enthusiastic about what's going on. If that's something that you fit into, then putting a compressor on is ideal for you because it's going to mean that when you do get really excited about things, it's not going to completely ruin your viewers' eardrums, because that's the last thing you want to happen, of course. From the threshold, 18 seems to be very good for me. Again, tweak it as and how you wish. The lower the number, it basically means if it's going to reach minus 16 decibels when it's doing it, it's effectively going to almost cap it in a way, is what it's there to do. So again, have a play with it and see what's going to work best. As I mentioned, the ratio, the attack, release, and the output gain, don't worry too much about it. It's not really going to change or revolutionize your microphone by any means, at least at this stage if you are just starting out anyway. This side chain and ducking source, though, this is really, really useful. Now, I don't use it myself because I don't really stream that often at this moment in time. I am going to hopefully start doing some of that stuff, but this is only really going to be for those streams that you're doing where maybe you're doing a just chatting thing, or maybe you've got a Football Manager stream on, and obviously Football Manager is not a loud game. There's not a lot of sound going on. Obviously, you can have sounds in game where you have cheering and stuff like that, but for me that drives me insane, so I switch it off. But what the sidechain and ducking source does is, if you've got a media source switched on, let me just open up Spotify so I can explain what I mean. Once that comes on, this should automatically detect your sources that you have available. So you see, I've actually got an audio output capture for Spotify on there. So effectively what that would do is, if the scene I was using in OBS picked up on that and it was open, it would immediately know, and this is actually really, really clever, it would know that I'm talking, and then it would actually make Spotify quieter as a result. So I don't have to spend loads of time with Spotify open, moving the mixer down, making it a bit quieter when I'm speaking and things like that. You can have nice clean audio if you're not speaking, which is great because everyone can hear the content that you play, as long as it's not copyrighted, of course. And then if you're talking, it just ever so slightly just makes it a little bit quieter, which is absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, switch it on there, jobs are good. And it's really, really simple to do and very, very powerful, especially if you are doing that streaming side of things. Can be very useful indeed. The last 1/2 I wanted to talk to you about is the noise gate and the plugin. The reason I've mentioned them in between in the same vein is because of the fact that they, in my example, they do very similar things. But I'll use the noise gate first and I'll explain what the plugin does in a minute. So what the noise gate does is effectively, and you might have heard this once I explain it, you might have actually, if you think back, you might have heard this as I've been talking so far. But effectively, what it does is if no noise is detected above or below, if no noise is detected underneath a certain decibel level, it effectively closes the input. So if I talked really quietly, and I mean really, really quietly, I'm talking like ASMR sort of quiet, then effectively my microphone just switches off. It's not something I have to do. I can move this around and it can turn my microphone on and off, but I don't have to do that. What it means then is, again, if you just want to be quiet for a second, you're not going to get extra noise coming through. And it's a really good way of really kind of cleaning up your audio as well. So how you do that is you've got a closed threshold and an open threshold. The closed threshold is what then shuts off the microphone. So if it goes below -16 decibels, done now. As you can see, in fact, let me just shift this over slightly. Watch my mic/aux input and wait until I stop talking and you'll realize that you can't hear me, and I actually won't get any input come through whatsoever. I actually breathed during that as well. I breathed quite heavily just to prove my point. Actually went quite loud in terms of breathing in and out. So I hope just to see if you guys can actually pick up on that, which you can't, which is great. This is again one of those things that is definitely worth just messing around with. As you can see, if I pull this a little bit higher, you can see I'm still talking, but as soon as I make any form of just ever so slight change in my voice and go really quiet like this, it's actually stopping it from being picked up. Like I said, play around with it, get it to a point where you can talk at a normal level and then go a little bit quieter, but you do that without losing the audio itself. So that's the main aim. The open threshold is at what level the microphone will pick up and detect your voice. So again, if I do this, if I go like that, you can see it's picking up it a lot less than it would normally do. Rule of thumb, I've seen this from other videos, this is not my idea, before you guys get any thoughts around this. I've been advised when I was setting this up, and it works really nicely, to try and keep these within sort of 5 or 10 decibels each. Keep them nice and close. It means that you've got a really, really good quality pick up on whether it should or shouldn't pick up your voice. And again, it means that if you are doing little things really quietly and you've got keyboard tapping, for example, or clicking or anything like that, it should mean that if you're not speaking, it's not going to pick them up. And that is a big plus, because no one really wants to hear you tapping away on your mechanical keyboard or anything like that. It's a no-no, let's be honest. Attack time, hold time, release time, don't worry about it. It's not going to do anything. Keep them the same as they are on here. These are the default settings, apart from obviously the ratios at the top. I've changed them slightly, but again, it's all about the way that suits you best. The plugin, the last one I was going to talk about, I've actually installed a separate plugin. At the point of recording this, I'm sorry, but I cannot for the life of me recall what it is. I think it's Reaper plugins. I will try my best to find a link, and if you see it in the description, great. If not, just message me and I'll do my best to track it down for you. I might forget. Not very good at these sorts of things. But effectively, I've downloaded a program onto my PC, and then you get a load of options as to what you can go for. All of these do different things. This standalone one, again, I've had a play around with these. To me, and from other videos I've seen, these seem like the best one. It gives you the ability to fine tune that gate accordingly as well. And it's got this really cool, clever feature. I'll see if I can show you guys what I mean, whereby I don't know if I can remember how to do it, but it's within here. You can change these high passes and things like that. And effectively what it does is it just very gradually turns down your microphone. So you can see it's picking up in a very similar way, but it just changes it ever so slightly and makes it a really clever way to manage your audio coming on and off. So it's not just a case of it's on, off. it's on, but then it can gradually disappear if you stop to talk. So you can get that more of an authentic, I suppose, kind of sound to it as well. With all of these, I have gone through them all now, obviously, as you can see. With all of these, it is worth noting that if you want to ever remove one, you just need to click on it like I've done here and hit the minus button. Or if you just want to temporarily switch that on or off, just hit the I buttons here as you can on any of your sources within OBS, and it will just temporarily switch it on and off, which is great. What I did to make sure I got mine to the perfect level, or at least at the moment to my perfect level, I might tweak it over time, is I actually just hit record in OBS. I kept this bit open so I could hear it. Sorry, so I could see my volume and where it was kind of topping out at and things like that. And I actually just went through, and this is going to sound really lame, and I'm never going to post this video. In fact, I think I've deleted it, so you'll never see it. But I effectively went, right, I'm turning on the noise suppression. I clicked that. It turned it on. I did a little bit of talking, and then I went, okay, I'm going to turn it off now. And then I just turned it back off again. And I just went through all of them one by one. And although it might sound cringy when you watch it back, because it definitely was, it was a really good way of knowing which ones will actually impact your microphone more often than not. Because like I said, these 5 are not the be all and end all. There will be other ways that you guys might find to change it. You might want to put more or less gain on. You might want to change the noise suppression values. You might need to change your noise gate depending on your sound of your volume and your speaking voice and things like that. But these are just here to give you guys a decent idea as to how to kind of get started. And like I said, you've heard at the start the difference between my old microphone and my new one, and this is all to do with what I've just shown you guys. So that, trust me, if you want to have people enjoy the videos properly, if that's something you want to do, or your streams or whatever it is that you're doing, make sure to spend a little bit of time in your audio, and don't be afraid to make any of these sorts of changes. And probably just as importantly, ask people. I had no idea how to do this. I watched a couple of videos, I figured it out. I found a process that suited me in a selection of settings that for me made my audio sound 10 million times better than it did before. And I just wanted to share with you guys what that was. That's the main reason for this video. But yeah, that effectively covers off what I wanted to show you guys. As I mentioned before, the huge benefit of those filters is, obviously I right click now, it shows me I've got 5 filters. Although I can copy them, I can go into any other scene on here. I can show you any other scene that I need to, and it will automatically know that I've got those filters already applied. So do it on whichever one you want to at the time, have a play around with it, get it figured out, and then you're done. Obviously, you still got the copy and paste if you really want to as well. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap up now. Hopefully you found this video interesting and useful, probably the most important part. As I said before, if you do have any further questions on anything like this, I'm by no means a tech genius. Before I do that, let's just put it back so that you can see my entire face. I'm not a tech genius. I'm not a wizard. I have some form of technological background in terms of helping people out, these sorts of things, which is why I wanted to bring these videos to you guys. And yeah, it's just a very nice, quick and easy way to hopefully improve the quality of your content. If you do have any other questions, or in fact, if there's anything else that you guys want to see on this channel that you just need a bit of a helping hand with, if I don't know it, I'll figure it out and I'll do a video anyway. That's pretty much where this has come from. But yeah, just let me know. Either drop a comment in the video down below here, or just follow me on Twitter, drop me a message. My link is in the description anyway, so just drop me a message, reach out, we'll have a chat. There's plenty of people that can help out with these sorts of things. I'd like to think I'm one of those. Helped out with a couple of people who might be watching this video now, who knows? And maybe they'll have already made these changes, or at least something similar, and they'll be reaping the benefits. Who knows? But yeah, if you have watched it, if you have enjoyed this one, guys, please make sure you hit that like button on the video. That is very, very much appreciated as always. If you are new around here, then please make sure you subscribe. As I said, this is a how-to video, but I am doing other content on this channel, primarily Football Manager based as well. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure, like I say, like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. But in the meantime, my name's been David. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.